to Razz Reviews. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 is a horror sequel to the movie The Conjuring, which was released in 2013. The movie follows paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren as they study the supposed possession of a young girl in England. The movie says that it's based on a true story like the other Conjuring movie, and that it's based on the investigations, the actual life investigations of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Whether or not it's really a true story is up for debate, but the film claims that it is, and from the get-go it gets you a little bit scared. I'm a big fan of James Wan. I really like the first Conjuring and also the Insidious movies, and what I love about him is the fact that he has brought back the old classic horror feel from movies like The Exorcist and The Omen. He doesn't just rely on jump scares and gore and blood. He actually uses camera techniques like long takes, certain silences to really put you in a very creepy mood and really establish that old sense of dread and fear that we used to feel when we watched films like The Exorcist when we were young. So I always look forward to his films. However, The Conjuring is in fact a sequel, and sequels always come with the feeling that maybe it's a cash grab because the first film was so successful, maybe they're just trying to make money. However, I can safely say that The Conjuring 2 is actually a pretty good sequel to The Conjuring 1. It doesn't just rehash the old movie and repeat its tropes. It's actually a very unique storyline. The characters are very unique and well established, and I enjoyed it in that sense. But the big question here is not, is it a good story? Is it well made? Is it scary? Is The Conjuring 2 scary? You bet your ass it's scary. I personally love watching horror movies, even though I actually do get scared. I'm not one of those people who sits in a horror movie like, it's scary. Because I don't get this, people. If you don't get scared, why are you watching the horror movie? I do get scared. I'm a giant wuss, and I love it. And when a movie can put me in that position where I'm too scared to watch, but too upset because I don't want to miss the scenes, but then I can't watch because I'm too scared, when it puts me in that dilemma, it's great. And The Conjuring 2 definitely did that. That nun will haunt your dreams. That nun. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil, but the nun. If you watch the movie, just remember me saying the nun, and you'll be like, crap, that's what she was talking about. Because it's really scary. Now I'm going to talk about the top 3 things that I liked about The Conjuring 2. Number 3, the mood. The really cool thing about James Wan and his movies, and good horror movies in general, is the mood. It's grim, it's depressing, it's uneasy, you feel like something bad is about to happen the whole time. This is a really well established mood for a horror movie. From the first scene in the film to the last scene in the film, the movie never lets up. It never lets you relax. I was so uncomfortable throughout the film, I couldn't eat any of my snacks. Every time I thought it was safe to reach for my popcorn, something happens and I put it away because I don't want to spill it on myself. When they can establish that mood the whole time, it's really good, and I really enjoyed it in the film. It felt like I was on some sort of scary horror ride the whole time. The number 2 thing that I liked about The Conjuring 2 is the cinematography or the visuals. Now, the camera work in this movie is amazing, just as amazing as all other James Wan movies and most good horror films. The camera movements in the movie were really good because they put you in a sense where you were like the characters in the film walking down these halls, seeing these scary things happen. And a lot of times when other movies would choose to cut and edit these scenes really fast and scare you and show you many things at the same time, James Wan chooses to always stay in the scene and stay on the shot for a very long time, too long for your own comfort. So you as an audience member would actually want the shot to change. You want to get out of that room, and that sense of anxiety is amazing when it's established correctly, and it's definitely established correctly here. The visuals are so nice, they're creepy and they're dark and they're like portraits, you know, they're like art, and there's this nice balance between darkness and shadows and light. It was just beautiful, and I thought it really worked well for the film. The number 1 thing that I liked about the movie was the relationships. What makes a horror movie really work well? For me personally, when I remember my favorite horror films like The Exorcist and The Omen, I remember the characters. I remember the possessed girl. I remember the Antichrist and his self-discovery that he's a monster, but is he evil, is he not? If you don't care about the people in the film, they're expendable to you, which is a trope that many horror films fall in because they want to kill off people quickly, then the stakes aren't high for you, so you don't worry, you're not engaged. You're like, the blonde chick is about to get stabbed in the face, so what? But if you care about these people and you don't want something bad to happen to them, and then it feels like something bad is about to happen, you start worrying, and that's a really effective thing. In The Conjuring 2, the only reoccurring characters with us are Ed and Lorraine Warren, and the movie focuses a lot on the relationship, their marriage, and their special bond together. So we know from the movies that Lorraine is the medium, and Ed is basically just her husband and the investigator, and he takes lead. However, she's the one who actually senses the ghosts and sees the scary, horrible things that nobody else sees. And what makes them close together as a couple is the fact that he's one of the few people who believes her. I'm assuming this happened also in real life. A very powerful thing to think about, that these two people existed that believed in something so unbelievable to the rest of the world. So their bond must have been super strong, and in the movie they reflect that really well. So you root for the two of them. You don't want them to lose each other, you don't want them to get hurt, and you want people to believe them when they don't. However, we have also a bunch of new characters like the possessed girl, her sisters, and the mother. And we also needed to really connect with these people because the bad things are mostly happening to them more than anybody else. James Wan always does an amazing job at casting these kids in his movies. They are so believable. You believe their fear, you believe their pain, you believe their anguish, and you really feel bad for them to be put in such a horrible situation. And this girl is no exception. I thought she did a tremendous job at making us feel bad for her and relate to her. And she really sold the fact that she's such an innocent person, yet put in such an extreme situation. So when she had to switch from her usual self into the possessed version of herself, she had to be really scary and frightening, and she was. She did a great job, so I really liked that girl. But I also liked the rest of the family, especially the mother. So the movie really gave all of these characters great backstories. It fleshed them out really well, and it made you connect to them and care about them and want them to be okay. And they weren't okay. They were being possessed, and it was horrible. So you always felt bad for them and scared for them, which made you feel scared and made you feel anxious the whole time. Now I'm going to tell you the top 3 things I didn't like about the movie. Number 3, the jump scares. So a lot of times the jump scares felt a little bit too heavy-handed, but only in the beginning of the film did it feel like it was, oh, I'm a horror movie, I'm here to scare you, boo, 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 boo. It's a very small, nitpicky thing, but sometimes I wish there was just a little bit less jump scares in the beginning of the movie and more character and setting establishment. The number 2 thing that I didn't like about the movie was a certain level of unbelievability. The movie, like I said, sells itself on the fact that it's a true story and all that, but sometimes some of the plot points were a little unbelievable. There's certain moments where you'd be like, why are they doing that? Doesn't make any sense. If they did this, it would have been better. And when these moments happen, they kind of take you out of the movie and break that amazing mood that has been established throughout the film. I can't say where the lapses in judgment happened because that would be a spoiler, but it did happen just a bunch of times. Another thing that seemed unbelievable to me is that they made it seem like this case is super documented. It wasn't just Ed and Lorraine Warren investigating it. There were other investigators in London in the movie that were there watching these paranormal things happen. There were police who saw what happened, there were cameras, things were recorded. So it felt a little strange that it's so clear that there's really something supernatural going on, and yet the mass public still doesn't believe it. Now I know that in real life, the evidence was not that concrete. It couldn't have been. But in the movie, it's shown to be that concrete because they want to film it, because they want to show it to us, because they want us to experience these scary things and see other people experiencing them in certain scenes. When you do that, you sacrifice a little bit of that believability. So I found a little bit of a problem with that in the movie in certain areas. The number 1 thing I didn't like about the movie was the lack of iconic moment. Everything else I said I didn't like about the movie is kind of nitpicky, I will admit. However, this is the only thing that I truly felt was missing. Especially that we had an iconic moment in the first Conjuring. I could never forget that after I saw the movie. Every time I saw anybody who saw The Conjuring, be like, dude, you see The Conjuring? It's really scary. Same as The Exorcist. Whenever someone says The Exorcist, you imagine, I can't do it, but the head 360 turn thingy. Unfortunately, I felt that The Conjuring 2 was missing such a moment. There wasn't a single moment in the film that stood out that much on its own to represent The Conjuring 2 for me, and I felt that I wish there was one. I really did. So all in all, The Conjuring 2 was a massive success for me in terms of horror films.
I just heard a cat meow.
Okay, I have to say this. I'm gonna say this. So throughout the filming of this review, I keep hearing voices and sounds, and it's really, really creepy. And I believe I am shitting my pantaloons as we speak. But I'm gonna continue anyway, just for you guys. Is there a sound in there?
I think I heard something up there.
Are you sure it's not the dishwasher?
Oh, it's gone now.
Okay. It's The Conjuring. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
Maybe we should be talking about this. It's a car. Come on, it's a car.
That's actually not a car. It's coming from there. Okay.
Okay.
There's no car in the corridor, okay? Can I say we're hearing sounds and now I don't want this review anymore? I'm sorry.
Is it just me hearing them, or there actually sounds?
I know there are.
Okay.
But we're both getting killed soon or something. So all in all, The Conjuring 2 is not only a great horror movie, it's a great sequel, and it's also a great movie. It had a great story, amazing characters, it was scary, and had a great mood. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I do recommend it for any horror fan out there, or even people who kind of like horror movies when they're good, not when they're too cheesy or whatever. Yani people who would actually go and watch horror movies, definitely go watch it. If you're too scared and you're too frightened, still man up and go watch it. It's fun. I definitely also recommend that you watch it more than once, especially if you're someone like me who gets really scared, because I missed out on a lot of things while I was cowering away like a giant wussy. So I would really like to see it again and see everything I missed out on if I have the balls to still watch it fully without taking cover or shelter. Because I love this movie so much and I think it's a solid horror film and a solid sequel, I'm giving it the rating of 8. So, have you seen The Conjuring 2? Did you shit your pants? Let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and help us share the geek. And as always, let me know what other movies or TV shows you'd like me to review for you, and look forward to more Razz Reviews coming your way. See ya!